Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to explain to all the Lapis haters who think she's a bad unit why she's actually a very good unit. Alright, so Lapis, I think the best way to use her is a Sword Master. You can go Hero as well, but let's think about Lapis a little. Okay, so she joins around, I think chapter 7 or 8, right? And, you know, she has an Iron Sword and Iron Blade. And she's not doing anything spectacular that chapter, so I think that's a watch. That the early chapters are more of a use everyone on your team as a chess piece, and everyone has a role, and you just use them properly, right? Build is not a big thing on that chapter when they first join. So Lapis on the next chapter immediately gets access to Roy. So I know Lapis, her base strength is probably nothing to write home about. But when you give her Roy, and you can immediately upgrade Roy using Bond Fragments, I think you'll be able to get it +2, maybe +3 strength very early on with Roy. So that is like an immediate patch for her strength issues. And then, she's a good candidate for Roy as well because she has the Iron Blade. So she can hit pretty hard with Blazing Lion. And Lapis has pretty good speed as well, so her avoid is going to be pretty good at that point in the game. And then if you just need a little extra survivability, then that's where Holdout is. So I think she's a very good candidate for Roy, if you're not using Diamant. And then next, let's think about our weapons. So I think the best way to build her, or the best weapon to get on her very quickly, is the Killing Edge. And that's incredibly easy to do because all you have to do is just transform a iron sword into a Killing Edge, and that's incredibly cheap. It's only like it's only 100 iron and 50, or is it 30 or 50 steel. The point is, it's pretty easy to transform Iron Sword into Killing Edge. And another reason why it's easy is because everyone has an Iron Sword. She comes with the Iron Sword, right? So it's not like you're trying to get a Silver Great Lance, right? Or a Silver Great Lance is, first you need a Steel Great Lance, and it's incredibly hard to get a Steel Great Lance in the game, at least early on. So, if you go Iron Sword, you just transform it into Killing Edge. All right. And the next reason why Killing Edge is really good for her is because it's incredibly cheap to upgrade the Killing Edge. And here you can see I upgraded to +5 because I just have a shitload of resources right now, and I'm just like, I'm a degenerate and I just want that extra 5 crit on the +5 upgrade. But I find like +3, just upgrading to +3 is totally fine. And that's actually what I did for most of this playthrough. Is I just stuck at +3 Killing Edge. And at that point, like, there's no real good emblems to put on the Killing Edge, but I find just, +3 Killing Edge, patching her strength with Roy, have her chill with Roy for, until chapter 10. And she's doing just fine, I think. You can class her up into Sword Master, that's your choice. But I think she's just chilling, right? She's just chilling until chapter 10 with the Killing Edge and Roy on her. Alright, another thing too is, if you patch up her strength with Roy, you can get the Armor Slayer on her too, and she can actually do decent damage against armors with the Armor Slayer. And another neat thing when she's fighting armors is that her, since her avoid is going to be pretty high comparatively compared to those armors, she actually can dodge quite a few armor attacks, especially if they're using axes. Axes, their hit rate is, substantially worse than sword users. And you combine that with Lapis's speed and avoid, and she can dodge those attacks, right? And then, because you have holdout on her, because you get Roy so early, that holdout is just kind of like an extra insurance, just in case she can't, she just gets hit or something. All right, so that's up to chapter 10. And then, okay, after chapter 10, you lose Roy, right? So it's like, what do you do with Lapis? Well, I think at that point, you want to class her up and advance her class into Sword Master if you haven't done so already. If you have done so already, then yeah, she's pretty busted as a Sword Master in pre-chapter 10. But okay, if you haven't, you upgrade into Sword Master. You can go Hero too. I'll talk about Hero a little bit later, so stay to the end of the video. But you can go Sword Master, all right? Now, she lost her strength because Roy's gone. But that's where you get a energy drop from chapter 10. Now, I think she's a very good candidate for the energy drop. You don't have to do it, but if you are struggling a little with strength, you can give her that strength just as a little, pick-me-up for Lapis. And I think she's a very good candidate, but I don't think she needs the energy drop. All right. And what you can do now is, after chapter 11, you get Lin, right? So what you can do as a quick patch to Lapis is that you're going to put Lynn on Lapis just for a couple chapters, right? So instead of Roy as your emblem, you have Lynn as your emblem on Lapis. And that gives her access to Speed Taker and Alacrity. And because she's a Sword Master, she can immediately make use of that Speed Taker and Alacrity, because that'll allow her to get 2 chances at a crit on the killing edge before the enemy can even retaliate. So the effective crit, I don't want to go into the probability right now, but you can estimate like at around, if you're at around 60 crit, your effective crit of chance of getting at least 1 crit on one of those 2 hits due to Alacrity is about 70%. That's a very rough estimate, right? So if your crit was 60 on the sword, and I'm assuming the opponent had 0 dodge, your chance of getting at least 1 crit is approximately 70. It's just a very rough approximation. I did a different video on Swordmaster on the exact calculation chance of getting a crit on one of those 2 hits, but that's for that video. I'll probably link that video in the description. All right, so she's pretty much reliably critting, and because she's reliably critting, she's reliably getting kills. So she actually just starts to snowball at this point, and she just keeps getting kills and more XP, and you'll find like she actually starts to steal EXP from other units. So it's like, there's many times during this run I was like, hold on, Lapis, you're just taking too many kills from people, and you're just killing things just too much. So, and that's already a testament and proof as to like why she's already very strong, like already in this kind of early mid-game range, right? So she's really doing things with the Lynn emblem with the Speed Taker and Alacrity, and as a bonus, what you can do is put the Lynn emblem engraving on the killing edge. That'll give you more crit. And she doesn't really need the hit for the killing edge. It's just to boost that crit more, so that effective crit is due to Alacrity is higher. And I would not recommend putting the Lynn emblem on the killing edge for a long period of time. It's just maybe for 1 or 2 chapters, just so you can boost the crit of the killing edge a little bit more. And then because you want to take that Lynn emblem engraving off of the killing edge, you want to put it on an axe user, like a tomahawk user, someone else who really needs to boost the hit on their weapon. So typically axe users, but you know, that's one thing. You can put the Lynn emblem engraving on the killing edge just for a little while. All right, and then you can just swap it off and put it on something else. Another thing too is because she's a good candidate for Lynn, you can also pump bond fragments into the Lynn to build her bond and just get more of Lynn's tools that make her really overpowered. But you don't really have to do that in my opinion. Just Speed Taker is good enough, and Alacrity is good enough, I think. But that's just a bonus. All right, so in that mid-game area, you know, she can use Lynn for maybe 1 or 2 chapters just to boost her, and then the nice thing is you can take Lynn off of her, and then you can inherit Alacrity, and then Alacrity will allow her to get that double before the opponent can counterattack. And she doesn't really need Lynn anymore, and that's good because you can give Lynn to someone else, and because Lynn is overpowered, that's the power of Lapis. It's she's able to take care of herself very early on because she has such high avoid. She has the killing edge for killing power. Like her damage output is very good. She doesn't really need an emblem, right? You know, in the early chapters, you're using Roy. That kind of, you know, she's a good candidate for Roy. She used Roy. She got good use out of Roy. You lost Roy after chapter 10. You get Lynn. She uses Lynn for a while just to, you know, and she starts to snowball, in my opinion, because it's just the killing edge and the void. She's just so reliable, getting kills with the killing edge, or even doing significant damage with the killing edge and setting up kills for other people. And at that point, she doesn't really need an emblem. And then the nice thing is you get Corin very soon, right? And then the Corin emblem gives you dodge and crit on your weapon. So that Corin engraving, you can see I have this killing edge engraved with Corin, and you can see the crit is at 81 right now and dodge is at 45. And you know, you don't need hit. She's a Swordmaster. Swordmasters have high dex, right? So you really don't need hit for Lapis as a Swordmaster. And you can see the hit is at 126, which is a little low, but I would argue, you know, if you're trying to go for axe fighters and berserkers anyways, and you're trying to break axes, you don't really need that much hit because their avoid is pretty crappy, right? And yeah, so you get the Corin emblem engraving on the killing edge, and she's just doing just fine. She's securing kills. She doesn't need help. And then you get the Silver Blade, right? I think Silver Blade is one of the easiest weapons to get early. Someone provides a steel blade around that chapter 13 to 17 part, and you can just upgrade the steel blade into the silver blade and transform it. And that's good to give her the silver blade because she has a busting option with the silver blade, and because she has such good avoid, the chances of her taking that first hit before she can actually unleash the Silver Blade on the enemy is pretty good, right? Because she has high avoid. So that's a good busting option. It's just kind of in your back pocket. But then she gets even more useful because soon after, like around chapter 16, you get Erica. She can just destroy with Erica. Because Erica, you can see Erica here, has Twin Strike. So Twin Strike, you need to use a sword attack on that, and the Silver Blade is a great candidate to use for Twin Strike. And if you just put Erica on Lapis, then she gets that effective damage bonus from Lunar Brace as well. So she's just doing more damage. She's a good candidate. So if you need someone to bust a monster or just bust a really hard, difficult unit, you just use Twin Strike from Erica with Lapis, and you have easy access to the Silver Blade, easy quick access to the Silver Blade, and it's a very good option for her. All right, so then she's just in this very stable place for a lot of the early game when you get her, and the mid game when you're continuing to use her, and she's just so reliable that she doesn't really need emblems to wear, and she can give those emblems to other people to use. You can give the Lyn emblem to other people to use. She can give the Erica emblem to other, if you're not using it on her, she can hand that off to someone else. And then when you get to chapter 19, you get Roy back, and then you already maxed out Roy when you were using her in the early game. So now her strength just goes back up, right? So now I just beat chapter 19. I got Roy back. My strength is back up at +3. She has access back to Rise Above, Hold Out again, Blazing Lion with the Silver Blade. She can now fire off Blazing Lion with, instead of a shitty Iron Blade, she can fire it off with the Silver Blade now. And you inherited Alacrity, and she's just doing just fine. Like Lapis, I find the reason why I think Lapis is so good is because her growth and strength throughout the game is very matched with the tools that you get in the game. The pacing at which you get those tools, right? You get Roy first, and then you lose Roy, but then she's kind of fine. Then you get Lyn. She can use Lyn for a little while, then she's fine. And the Killing Edge you get really quick, and it's just putting in so much damage. And then you can hand off Lyn to someone else for someone else to benefit from Lyn. And then you get Corn, and you put the Corn engraving on the Killing Edge. But she doesn't need to actually wear Corn, right? She just benefits from the Corn engraving. And then you get Erica, and then she can use Erica for a little while. Then she can hand off Erica to someone else because she gets Roy back. And then you get Roy back, and now she's busted again with Hold Out, Rise Above, Blazing Lion, Silver Blade. You get the Silver Blade early, so she's doing just fine. And you can give her the Armor Slayer. She's a good candidate for the Armor Slayer. It's just all the tools, all the emblems, all the weapons, all the resources, and the pacing at which they come to you in the game is just so perfectly timed for Lapis. And that's why I think Lapis is such a good unit. And because she's able to take care of herself in all of these situations from the early to mid game, and even going on into the end game, she can give those resources to other units who really need them, and without being gimping herself, and she can still contribute to the fight very reliably for all of those mid-game to end-game chapters. Anyways, that's my speech on why I think Lapis is actually one of the best units in the game. And feel free to write in the comments why you disagree, but you're probably wrong, and bye.